Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. If you would rise for the prayer and the pledge, I'll lead both. Father, thank you again for a glorious day. God, we just pray for wisdom as we meet together to discuss the business of this system. God, we just pray that you help us and guide us through this time. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen.
Salute, pledge.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you very much. So again, we do call this meeting to order of the school board effective Thursday, October 24th, 2024. We do have a short agenda, so I would ask that you consider adopting the agenda as presented.
So moved.
Thank you very much, Mr. Mitchell. Second by Clark. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed say no. All right, so we're going to consider new business for the Medicare Advantage Plan renewal for January 1, 2025. Ms. Duke?
I will start it off. Okay, so the first item that we have to consider is renewal of the Medicare Advantage Plan. As you know, on January 1st of 2020, we implemented a new retiree health plan, and it's the Medicare Advantage Plan. If you're locked out, Medicare Advantage Plan is on the news. This particular Medicare Advantage plan, Brown & Brown brought this to us, and it has been a great cost savings to the health plan that we offer to our retirees. Retirees have to be enrolled in both Medicare Parts A and B in order to enroll in it, and the majority of our retirees and eligible spouses are participating in this plan. The proposals that Brown & Brown brought to us did provide a renewal from Blue Cross Blue Shield. However, that premium at that cost was pretty significant. I believe the renewal premium was $468 per month per member. That's an increase over the $341 per month per member that it is currently. And the member cost share in that is the member pays 25% and the school board pays subsidizes 75% of that cost. So that would have been an increase to members, spouses primarily, and members who do not qualify for our premium waivers of from $85 to $117 per month. So that was quite significant. Brown did bring to us a second proposal from United Healthcare for their Medicare Advantage plan, and in keeping the same benefits that are currently available in our current plan outside of the dental, comprehensive dental services. It is not offered under their plan. It is actually just basic dental, preventative, and diagnostic type services, dental checkups and x-rays that are offered. But that actually, comprehensive dental wasn't added to our current Medicare Advantage plan until this year. So it's not like it's something that's been around a long time. It was just implemented this year. And but because of the cost differential and the fact that they are offering the same benefits outside of dental and some further enhanced benefits, we are going to recommend the United Healthcare Blue Advantage plan, Medicare Advantage plan for our retirees. Now that means there have to be a re-enrollment that'll have to occur. Information will have to be transferred to United Healthcare to make that happen. basically the retirees, if y'all were here last time and you remember that process, there's going to have to be a re-enrollment. They'll have to be done, and if it gets approved tonight, we'll begin that process tomorrow. But first, I would like to ask Mr. David Sharpenshay with Brown & Brown to say a few things about the Medicare Advantage plan, and then we do have Joanne Wetzel, who has been tremendous. She knows the plan backwards and forwards. She's the retirement specialist for United Healthcare, and we actually have her remote to kind of speak to some of the highlights of the plan and what's offered in the United Healthcare plan, that enhancements that aren't offered in the Blue Cross plan. David.
I would just like to explain a little bit about why the increase in the Medicare Advantage plan. It's not necessarily related to claims like most renewal increases are. It's driven 99% by the federal government changing the rules. The federal government pays insurance carriers to offer these plans. In other words, they subsidize the coverage for the carriers like Blue Cross and United Healthcare to offer this coverage at a low cost to the retirees. However, under the recent law that was passed, they changed the rules. They, number one, increased the benefits such that the maximum out of pocket on these plans now can only be $2,000. Secondly, and most importantly, they reduced the reimbursement to the insurance carriers. For example, today they reimburse the insurance carriers 60% for all the pharmacy claims that are filed on these plans. Starting next year, they're only going to reimburse 20%. So the cost to the plan, of course, is increasing like everyone else. In other words, claims are going up, and at the same time, the government is reducing the reimbursement to the carriers, which made it affordable, while at the same time increasing benefits. Just one example being the maximum $2,000 out of pocket. So that's what happened at Blue Cross. That's why their plan went up such that it's, it makes the benefits that they've given you for the last few years, it takes it off the table for this year. Why can United Healthcare do better? I'll let them speak to that. Joanne will speak to it, but in simple terms, they're so big, they're huge. They're the biggest carrier of Medicare Advantage in the country. They also have high star ratings. Those two things combined to mean they get higher reimbursements from the government now than the other carriers, and they will continue to do so in the current year. So, those factors allow them to continue to offer a plan at these rates, and beyond that, I would let them answer any questions deeper than that. But that's the crux of the matter.
And I will say one more thing is that United Healthcare was able to give us a rate guarantee that in next year, in 2026, should we renew the plan with them, that we won't have a rate increase that would exceed an additional $55 per month per member. So that's nice, knowing the environment that we're in with these new laws coming down, that's an enhancement that kind of helps to protect our funding as well, and the cost to those participating retirees. Okay, so now we're going to turn it over to Ms. Wetzel.
Greetings. Can everybody hear me okay?
Yes.
Yes.
I'm going to try to get my camera to work. Can you guys, now you can see me? Hello?
Yeah.
It's always nice to have a face with the voice coming over your microphone in the room. So thanks a lot for letting us just have the opportunity to provide a proposal, but I'm just going to provide a few highlights. I know Juanita has given you a great background. David has given you some additional information. I don't want to be redundant, so I'm just going to hit a couple of high spots. Basically, what we did was we took your current plan and we built a custom plan design to match what you had in place today. And I want to point out, this is not a street plan. This is not the plan that you hear about right now on the television, on the radio. Those are individual plans and they operate very differently. On group plans, you're able to build them from the ground up and customize them to meet the group's needs. And that's exactly what we did for Lincoln Parish School Board. So we took your plan design and we either matched it or we enhanced it with the only exception being the dental plan, which Juanita touched on earlier. We still do offer a preventive and diagnostic dental plan within the offering. It's not a comprehensive dental plan, but it's my understanding that you're still going to have the option to be able to select that dental plan that's part of the self-funded offering today. On the pharmacy benefits, we offered a couple of enhancements. First of all, we built a plan that includes 100% of the generics in Tier 1. So all generics are a zero copay. So that's in any tier. So you don't have to worry about preferred generics or non-preferred generics. Any retiree that goes to the pharmacy, if they get a generic, will pay zero out of pocket, which is fantastic. You also would not have to worry about preferred versus standard pharmacies. We have a broad national network, over 67,000 pharmacies. We have all national chains. We have independent pharmacies. We have mom and pop pharmacies. We pulled up a bunch of pharmacies that are local to your area, pulled up all the ones that we could think of while we were there last week of who you guys are going to see today or who the retirees are going to see today, and those were included as well. So you don't have to worry about paying an even higher copay if you go to what's called a standard pharmacy versus preferred. Everybody's copays are the same regardless, which is nice. You don't have any surprises on the back end. You know when you go to the pharmacy what your copay is going to be. We also quoted our most robust formulary, and formulary is just another word for your drug list. On group plans, you can attach a whole host of different formularies, some for cost savings, some for different tier structures, etc. But the long and short of it is we quoted for Lincoln Parish School Board our most robust formulary, and then on top of that, we added a bonus drug list. So these are drugs that are above and beyond what CMS, the Centers for Medicare and Medicaid, mandate. These are drugs that are popular and highly utilized by seniors. And so we added that bonus drug list to eliminate any noise or disruption to try to make that experience for the retiree very positive as they move from one plan to the other. So we're all about making this a positive experience, and we're all about eliminating disruption. And another thing that eliminates disruption is we quoted this on our national passive PPO. That is what your plan has today, and what that means is retirees can see any provider that accepts Medicare, whether they are contracted with United Healthcare or not. We have over 1 million providers across the country. We are the largest in market share. We have the largest national network of any Medicare Advantage carrier in the country. But on top of that network, they can see any provider that accepts Medicare, and their benefit experience will be the same. So the benefits in and out of network are identical, and the benefit travels with them. So if you have folks that like to travel, or you have folks that live in one place for part of the year and another place in another part of the year, their benefit experience is going to be the same anywhere they go in the country. And the benefits are also will travel with them if they go outside of the country. So if you are in Europe and you get sick and need care, you're going to have care on this plan as well. And it will be offered at the same benefit level as if you were still in the United States, which is great. So if you've got folks that travel, they have peace of mind of knowing that they're going to have full coverage when they're out of the country as well. One thing that we like to point out that's baked into our plans, we have a whole lot of benefit enhancements that are just automatically included. And some of them include things like meals, transportation, in-home personal care, fitness benefits. We offer what we call member rewards or member incentives. And basically those are gift cards that are given to retirees for healthy behaviors. So basically you're going to get a Visa gift card for doing something that you should be doing anyway, just to take care of your health. A couple of examples would be going for your annual physical, or going for your colonoscopy, or going for a mammogram, or maybe you're diabetic and you haven't gone in to check your A1C and you're overdue for that. So going to do those things that you're supposed to do for your health, maintaining your health and improving your health, we're going to give gift cards for those types of behaviors. And that's great benefit to get a gift card in the mail for just doing what you should be doing to take care of yourself anyway. And those gift cards can be used anywhere. You can use them at the grocery store, you can use them at the gas station, you can use them at your pharmacy. You can use them anywhere that a Visa gift card can be accepted. We also include a very significant hearing aid discount. So we matched the hearing aid allowance that you have today. So you have you have an $1,100 hearing aid allowance. We match that, but our plan has baked in as part of our normal program a discount that offers a savings up to 80%. So the range is anywhere from 50 to 80% off of the hearing aids. So that makes that allowance go a whole lot further when you go purchase that hearing aid. And if anybody's had to purchase a hearing aid, you know that they can be expensive. So you're going to get the hearing aid allowance, and then you're going to have a 50 to 80% discount on top of that, which will make that money go much, much further. David's already touched on this, David from Brown & Brown, but I'm just going to say this. We have been doing this for 40 years. We have been in the business for a really long time. We're not new in this space. We're actually the pioneer in this space. We have been at 4 stars or higher since the inception of star ratings, and star ratings are a really, really big deal. Star ratings determine quality of care, retiree satisfaction, how we're performing from a clinical and outcomes-based perspective. Basically, it's like the CMS, the Centers for Medicare and Medicaid Services, is like their stamp of approval. They rate us every year on how we're performing, and the higher you perform, the higher your reimbursement is going to be from CMS, and that drives not only new business pricing, but it drives the pricing of your renewals. So basically, it equals financial sustainability. We have been at 4 stars or higher since the inception of the STARS program. So we are not only a high-performing carrier with a high star rating, but we have maintained that rating year over year over year over year. That's why we have a 97% client retention rate. Customers not only come to us, but they stay with us because not only are we affordable, but we have very high satisfaction rates, lots of benefit enhancements, things that retirees look for when they're shopping for a plan, and things that just make seniors happy with their plan. So I'm going to just stop there and open it up for any questions that you might have for the Medicare lady.
You don't have any questions for Ms. Wetzel? She does a great job. Donnie Gar heard this once. All right.
Thanks, Ricky.
Okay, well, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, so if, so that's basically the proposal. It's a win-win. It's actually savings for the school system as well, about $52,000 with a reduction in premium actually for the member and for the school board. So that's.
Yep, so our recommendation would be to approve the renewal of the Medicare Advantage, non-renewal of the Medicare Blue Cross Blue Shield, and grant us permission to sign an agreement with the United Healthcare.
Okay, so that, do I hear that as a motion?
Make a motion.
Donna, thank you very much. Do I have a second? Second, thank you. Okay, so we have a first and a second, and I would like to open this up for conversation. Anybody on the board have questions, or anybody out in the audience that has an opinion or a thought? Please feel free to share that statement now.
I'm just going by out on the street. United Healthcare don't have a very good reputation, but that's just what I hear on the street. So I don't have any proof of that, but I just going by what people say.
Thank you.
When the lady made the presentation, we have all that information in these packets,
Yes, sir.
that it will not change benefits, because I'm one of them retirees that got more handicaps than a person with no legs. And I know how it feels. You go to the go get your medicine, you know, and then they changing up on you. The worst place in Russell is Walgreens, they don't ever have it. So if you on insulin, you better lie and get an extra bottle, because if you don't, you in trouble. So, you know, we have some pharmacists around here, but none of them are efficient enough to do what they need to do to me. You know, and the rest of them won't take this Medicaid and
I
Medicare.
think all of ours that we've talked about are on the list.
Right, on the
Are approved
pharmacy.
for us to for you
What
to
did
use.
they add to it? Like, you know, we got Walgreens, who is anybody else here?
I mean,
Instead of apothecary.
shop, yeah.
Rookie shop won't take it. Yep. They'll turn you
Joanne,
away like
do
bad
you want to
habits.
speak towards the pharmacy disruption?
Yeah, I can speak to that. So first of all, we have all of the national chains. We also have regional pharmacies, you know, local pharmacies, what we call mom and pop shops. When I was there last week, Christine and Laramie and I looked up several local pharmacies that we knew that were being utilized by the population today. And everybody that we looked up was on the list. And I will tell you that if there's any pharmacy that's not on the list, which we couldn't find one, if they wanted to be participating in the pharmacy network, they can. It's just a matter of contracting with us. I will also say, to speak to the earlier comment made by the gentleman, I would just say that United Healthcare has an awesome reputation from not only CMS, but I think just by virtue of the fact that we have a 97% client retention rate, we wouldn't be able to maintain a 97% client retention rate if we were doing a bad job. And I will tell you that a big part of our star ratings is retiree satisfaction. So if retirees weren't satisfied, it would show up in the star ratings. And we've never fallen below 4 stars. I do want to say that this is a group plan. It's not an individual plan. It is also not the People's Health Plan. Some people know that we bought People's Health. That is a individual carrier, is an HMO. It is an individual plan, and it is vastly, vastly different from what we're talking about with this plan today. This is a group plan. It's a customized plan, and it is a very rich plan from a drug list perspective, bonus drug list perspective, and to speak to benefits changing, we guaranteed our rates and benefits for a year, and then we offered a 2nd-year rate guarantee, so we're willing to put our money where our mouth is from a financial perspective. And most carriers right now aren't doing that because of all of the uncertainty that David spoke about earlier. These are some unprecedented times in the world of Medicare. CMS doesn't usually make a lot of changes. And if they do, they're usually very minimal, and they phase them in over a period of many years. This year we had CMS changes and we had Inflation Reduction Act changes that all hit in the same year, and they were dramatic changes. And some of those changes even drove some Medicare Advantage carriers out of the market completely. They couldn't sustain maintaining benefits and paying claims with all of the new changes. Not only did we do that, but we've continued to grow our network. We've continued to grow our pharmacy list. We've continued to maintain customers. Like I said, we've got a 97% client retention rate, and we've never fallen below 4 stars. A lot of our competitors have fallen below 4 stars. And I'll give you one example of what that means. If you fall below 4 stars, even half a star to 3.5 stars, that's worth over $50 per member per month toward premiums. That's huge. So a lot of our competitors have done that, and we have not. We've maintained 4 stars or higher. So that's a long way of saying that we're proud of how we're performing, and a big part of that performance has to do with retiree satisfaction. That has a lot of weight in the star rating system and how we get rated year over year.
Just so I'm clear, on this page right here, it's the second page, where it compares the 2 renewal proposals. we talk about a $52,000 savings, but in actuality, it's closer to $940,000 in savings, because if we go with Blue Cross Blue Shield, again, it's going to be an increase of $900,000 to the school board in annual cost. Is that correct?
Correct.
And then for 2026, at a maximum of $55 in premium upgrades, that will be an additional $32,000, which would still be well under by about 800,000 compared. So am I seeing that correct? To the
It actually would be a little bit more than that.
Yeah, my calculation was just under $1 million savings on the Medicare Advantage plan alone.
If in 2026, if we got the full increase of $55 from it, would be around $381,000, but it's still less than what Blue Cross is offering today.
And that's assuming Blue Cross rates will be the same.
Correct.
You're not including any
It
increase
doesn't-
in Blue Cross.
Correct.
And so after 2026, it's back to the drawing board. Is that a normal 2-year cycle for reviewing your insurance programs, and is that how often we're doing
Actually,
this?
the Medicare Advantage plan comes to us new and fresh every year. David, I don't know if you want to speak to that, but I mean, it's tweaked a little bit here and there, like Joanne said. It's never really any
Yep.
huge changes, because Medicare doesn't change much. But
These contracts renew annually, and this one with United Healthcare, if you decide to go with it, will renew annually as well. But what they're doing is they're giving you a rate guarantee for your next renewal and a partial guarantee for the renewal after that. So yes, they do renew annually, but you have guarantees from the biggest carrier in the space on what your increase would be at maximum next year.
Other questions from the board?
So the bottom line is, we're gonna save money, and we will not lose benefits. Am I right?
That's what it says.
Yeah.
Well, the
I've
only
heard that.
benefit was the
You know.
only benefit you're losing is the
dental?
comprehensive dental.
Dental, yeah.
When you say comprehensive dental, that means anything you do at the dentist office that's not cosmetic or whatever.
Anything that is not your routine checkup,
Yep.
x-rays, diagnostic type of shit.
Well, we don't hear very often that we're saving money in the healthcare world.
Yeah.
And I've never been one to take the cheaper deal in the room just because it's the cheaper deal in the room, but $1 million is pretty significant for us. I mean, even at a $100 million budget, it's a 1% savings, but it's probably the biggest savings I've seen since I've been on this board for anything.
Agreed.
Well, that was just
Agreed. And I think the concern
As long as
is
it doesn't.
we don't want to take away
benefits for
benefits
these
that come back
retirees.
and hurt retirees.
Anybody.
We can try it for a year and see.
Yeah, and that's what I was curious about was
That's right.
is how often do we actually look at this?
Yeah.
And Mr. Charbonnet, this may be a question that for you. As we continue to go down the road of healthcare for our retirees, and it sure seems like that is our biggest burden financially, not our retirees, but our healthcare in general is our biggest burden financially in our district. Is there any conversations out there of changing the way that school districts approach healthcare as it pertains to cost shares between employees and the district?
Are you talking about changing the premiums that the?
Yeah, just the.
Oh, no, absolutely.
I mean, obviously, like Mr. Ferguson is a retiree, Ms. Abrams is a retiree, Ms. Doss is a retiree, Mr. Dirt's going to be retiree one day. Like, and I'm not talking about those folks right now. I'm
Right.
talking about on the front end. As we bring in new employees, is there any conversation among anybody about how we approach paying for health care for our employees?
Well, I'll give you an example. In South Louisiana, there's a large school board that you can look it up in a newspaper for yourself, but they're doing a 20% increase in the employee contributions and 20% on the retirees,
Just to be able to keep up.
just to be able to keep level. Another school board, which we actually handle in South Louisiana, just increased the premiums and reduced the benefits. Again, just trying to stay above water.
a 20% increase on this United Healthcare premium would be $60 to the whole, roughly, right? $70. I'm just trying to look at it from an apples to apples standpoint, what that.
I mean, we're there.
So another question.
On paper, it looks good.
Another question that I would just feel like we need to ask officially is, does the retiree have the ability to stay with Blue Cross if they wanted to, pay the difference in premium, or does everybody have to go with one or the other?
I believe everyone is designed, everyone goes.
Everyone has to go.
Thank you.
Do we have to re-enroll, you said?
You will, and we if this gets approved, we'll have a kickoff call to start that process and start getting notices out to everybody.
Is there any risk of anyone not being able to roll over to the new plan because of their health?
Pre-existing conditions or anything?
Not at all. As long as they have Medicare A and B, they can.
If they have Medicare A and B and they're still breathing, they qualify.
It might even attract, after you look at the last agenda, it might even attract some retirees who remained on the self-funded plan who have A and B that might want to come over too. So it's possible. You can get more enrolled.
So, Mr. President, Mr. Superintendent, given Mr. Ferguson's observations and Mr. Hancock's, Mr. Sharpenshade has outlined the benefit cost scenarios. I spoke to it, but my question would be, is Mr. Ferguson or is David and Danny's, are their concerns, have they been addressed sufficiently to your and David's satisfaction?
Thank you.
I'm willing to go for a year.
Okay.
Any more questions?
What other school districts participate, in this area?
So they're asking for school district.
What other districts in our area participate with United Healthcare?
Medicare Advantage plan.
Yeah, this,
We have several school districts throughout Louisiana, just kind of going off the top of my head. We have St. Martin Parish, St. John Parish, we have Ascension Public Schools, we have Terrebonne Parish, we have East Baton Rouge Parish, and then we have other customers in and around your area, not necessarily school boards, but we have several school boards in and all over Louisiana. We also have over 2 million members on this particular product, and we have over 15 million members nationally. So, like I said before, we're not new in this space. We've been doing this a whole lot longer than your current carrier. We've been doing it for 40 years, and they've been doing a passive PPO for about 3 years. So we are a pioneer and highly rated in this space.
Police Parish Police Jury has the Medicare Advantage too, there's one here. I don't know if it's actually the same, but they do use it.
okay.
And I think Joanne mentioned that she's signing on some other police juries and sheriffs in the northern part of the state too.
Okay. Okay. Any further questions? We need a roll call vote. All in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed say no. Hearing none, that matter passes. Okay, let's go to item number 2, to consider renewal of the self-insured health and dental plan administration services. Ms. Duke?
I'm sorry. Okay, for the health and dental plan renewal. Okay, so again, with the renewal of our self-funded health and dental plans, Brown & Brown went to the market. It was a little bit different going out to the market this time. There was just a little bit different going out to the market this time just because of the changes in the environment that we're in with healthcare and all the changes that are coming down from the federal government. So the focus was to try to address what's needed to try to help mitigate increased costs of the health plan going forward. Blue Cross has been the administrator of the Lincoln Parish School Board's health and dental plan since 2012. But as we went through the process and received the proposal from Brown & Brown, they recommended that we needed to really take a hard look at this because they had some good savings, especially in the pharmacy area, that we needed to take advantage of or consider. And so as we looked at it and we engaged with UMR and United Healthcare representatives, it just became clear that this was a solution that we really needed to look at because they were really forward-thinking, thinking about the future, how we can mitigate costs and be more proactive than reactive with our plan. And that's really what we want to be able to get through these troubled waters that we see coming down the road. So without going into too much more, I will ask David to come and present the proposal and talk a little bit more about how we are, why we are where we are right now with our plan.
There's a lot of factors as to why we are where we are, but the biggest thing is pharmacy. The drugs are just becoming more and more expensive, more and more pervasive. I'll give you a few examples. These weight loss drugs that's on TV every day, every night, and being pushed, cost about $1,000 per month to be on, and you are required to cover them if a person is diabetic, because they're also indicated for diabetes. That is one of the big drivers right now. But that's not the only driver. There are other drugs. There are drugs that are anti-inflammatory drugs. There's different brands of them. One of them is called Stelara. As an example, it's $25,000 a month. Now, I'll give you a personal example. In one of our offices that's only got a handful of people, there are 2 people out of a handful on that drug. And I only know that because they told me. And I'm not giving names or anything like that, but it's a pervasive drug. It's $25,000 a month, and that's forever. That's not for a little while until you're well. It's for the rest of your life until something better comes along. So drugs are a big, huge thing. But also the government plays a part in this. The government keeps pushing mandates, and they provide no funding for these mandates. They keep changing rules. They change the rules on the pharmacy companies. They change the rules on the insurance companies. And they're involved in that too. And before I forget about it, I wanted to mention that the changes in Medicare are also going to impact the RDS reimbursement that y'all file for each year from CMS for the drugs that are being paid for under the self-funded plan. That's going to be reduced as well. So the government has got their fingers in this all over the place. If we look at your claims, your drug spend, and matter of fact, there's a graph in here that since 2022, the average drug cost per month has gone from $230,000 a month to $430,000 a month. So just drugs have gone up a couple $100,000 per month in a couple of years. That's a huge driver as to what's going on, and you should have a copy of these graphs that basically show the trends, and it's just up and up and up and up. And unfortunately, there's very little that you can do to control it. One of the things that we need to do, and we're not doing, and United Healthcare is providing a solution for, is intervening in some of these folks' lives who have these diseases that can be impacted before they become transplants and really high claims. They have a couple of different programs that they're going to be providing at no additional cost. And I indicated to Ms. Duke, I'd come back even out of vacation to help push this because I truly believe in it. It's something I've gone through. It works. If I would have not made changes, I probably wouldn't be alive, or if I would be, I'd be taking insulin multiple times a day. But I take nothing for diabetes because I did what these programs teach you how to do. That's something that we really need to get to work in your plan. But anyway, that's the why. It's primarily in pharmaceuticals and large claims from people who have got to that stage where diabetes has turned into a transplant. We have 2 transplants, 2 people on transplant lists right now. We have another one. I forget what the condition is there, but again, it's a large potential claimant, and that adds a lot of money. But it's not just those big ones. They're big. They're big, and it's easy to see. But there's a lot of people who could be spending this much, they're spending this much if they made just small changes in their lifestyles, and we need to work on that. Otherwise, we'll never get control of this. We honestly will never get control of this. I've been doing this for a long, long time, and it never changes until the people change. And in the clients and the cases that we've been able to get to put these programs in place, they do have a positive return on investment. They cost money, but they save money on the backside. So enough of my preaching. Let me tell you about the renewal. The Blue Cross renewal, the stop-loss premium is increasing by 10.33%. However, they have 3 lasers. A laser is where you have an individual who has a condition or a potential transplant or something that is known, it's coming, it's going to cost a lot of money, and a stop-loss carrier will not insure it. So basically, you are self-insured for those people. You have 3 of them. Between the 3 of them, it's $1.475 million collectively between the 3 that will not be covered under your stop-loss insurance should those individuals have to end up having the transplant or whatever it is that they have going on. And that, unfortunately, is also the case with United Healthcare. It's just that insurance companies don't insure known things. They insure the unknown. Beyond that, let me flip to the right page here. Okay. UMR is, however, UMR is part of United Healthcare. They're a third-party administrator. They're a claims administrator like Blue Cross is for you currently. They're offering to process your claims, be your claims processor, for 20% lower than Blue Cross. And they're guaranteeing those fees for 3 years. So for 3 years, you'll be 20% below what your renewal would be if we renew with Blue Cross. Unfortunately, like I said before, the lasers are there as well. We can't make those go away. I wish we could. The most critical part of this program, however, is in the pharmacy. They are proposing a pharmacy program through Optum, which is a pharmacy benefits manager that they own in partnership with a pharmacy consortium that Brown & Brown has developed. Between the programs that they're going to put in place between Brown & Brown and Optum, that has a potential to save the plan $1.5 million over a year due to increased pharmacy rebates. Now, what's a pharmacy rebate? You pay your prescription bills all during the year, and that goes where to the insurance company who passes it on to the drug companies. And the drug companies have this convoluted way of doing things that I wish somebody would fix, but they don't. But anyway, they feed back what's called rebates back to the carriers, and the carriers feed back some portion of those rebates back to the plan sponsors, such as Lincoln Parish. And we're estimating that if things go next year the way they did this year, and that's what you have to keep in mind. If something that, if this year was good, next year is bad, it may be different or vice versa. But based upon if things next year are similar to what they are this year, you could get back $1.5 million additional dollars in rebates, because you are getting rebates now. This would be on top of what you're already getting. They're additionally offering first-year credits on administration costs to help pay for the run-out costs that Blue Cross is going to charge. Blue Cross will not continue to process your claims past the end of this year if you make a move to United Healthcare. They will process them only if you pay them to do so, and the cost is whatever the claims are plus 15%. So we don't know what that number is going to be because we don't know what the claims are, but they're going to give a credit towards the administration fees that they'll be charging to help pay that. One thing I want to make clear is that if you do make this change to UMR, the benefits of the plan won't change. They'll be exactly the same unless you want to change them. Okay? They will completely mirror the benefits unless you want to make changes. And you may want to. There's something we need to take a look at. There may be some things that need tweaking, but it will be at your desire, not at theirs. So basically, there's a significant amount of money to be saved if you move to them. It is a change. It is. I'm not going to say it's easy. It's easy for most people, but I mean, there's a lot of work to be done, and we need to honestly make a decision fairly soon so that we have time to get all of it done in the event that you want to take advantage of the offer. And with that, I'll answer any questions as best I can, and I'm sure these folks are more eloquent than I am.
And we do have United Healthcare representatives here, and
Yes.
Travis or Scott, would either one of you like to come up and talk about
some of the benefits and actually the renewal.
Absolutely.
Okay.
So thank y'all for having us. My name is Scott Chapman. I'm the Vice President of Account Management, so I run all the account management teams for Louisiana and Mississippi. My background is human resources, so I used to sit in the shoes of Juanita of making a change like this. It's significant, so you really want to think through this. So whenever Brown & Brown and the school board came to us and said, hey, we need to save money, but we want very little disruption, what we decided to do is, this is why we went this UMR path. So we have United Healthcare as a carrier, so kind of like standard benefits packages that we can offer, or we have UMR. And every single UMR group, we build the benefits from scratch. So we take your plan language of what you have right now, we grab it, and we pick it apart, and we do that before we do it to you. And we look at it and we say, okay, whenever this is the way that we read these benefits, is this exactly what you meant by that? And what happens often in our implementations is people go through that and they say, you know what, this is how it started, and this is how we started, however many years ago when we first did the plan, but really don't like the way that is. So there are some things we will enhance, other things we will leave exactly like it is, but we have taken your plan and we're looking to match your benefits 100%, so there would be no change in the benefits. One of the things we do through implementation, we go through all of the hours of conversation to make sure that we do it and it's right. And then what we do is we take claims and we say, okay, is there anything that looks like it might be something that we want to really dig into? Anything that we think might get wrapped around the axle whenever it goes live? And we do a pre-check before we ever go live so that we do everything that we can to make sure the benefits are paying the way that you want that. And I say that and I emphasize that point because the biggest thing, you talked about it, are we going to lose benefits? Are things going to change whenever we come on board with UMR? And we are going to do everything we can to make sure we don't do that ahead of time. But even if it does shift, we write our own codes. We will change the plans to make sure that we do it in the intent that you and your membership are looking for. The other two places that there could be fear, right, is your doctors and your hospitals. And then also pharmacy. Pharmacy is the benefit that is most used of anything else. So looking at, you've got a sheet, I believe, in your packets that have all of this data in here. But we took all of your hospitals and all your doctors for the last 2 years, and we ran them against our network. So who your members went to versus who's in our network. For the hospitals, 100%, every single hospital that you had any claims for, we matched up and you will not have any disruption. In addition to that, we're a national network, so it's not state by state. So if you've got somebody that needs to go to MD Anderson or Mayo Clinic, or you've got a child that's out of state, none of that will be any disruption because it's our same clinical programs everywhere in the country. Same network, I don't know if you know this level, but a lot of times if you go out of state on your current plan, there are fees that get associated by using someone else's network. It is all one network, so that doesn't happen at all. Now, we did pull up some providers. There were a couple of chiropractors and a couple of physical therapists that were a little bit different in the network, but over 99% match. So we feel very confident that that portion is not going to be an issue for you. Same thing with pharmacy. Pharmacy is a very, very big deal, and that is going to be the very first line that you ever would hear any kind of noise for. So we took your formulary, we took where all the medications that have been accessed, that have come through as a claim on your current PBM, and we put that against our formulary where they are. And we're talking not only just is it excluded, but does it change tier at all? 98% match. Now, what would happen for those few people that do have a change? We have that record. We would outreach to them before you ever go live and say, hey, we've noticed that this is a drug that's going to be a tier difference. Now, some tiers went better, others went down. For anything that went to a lower tier or may be excluded, we would call them and say, I want to let you know this is going to be a change. And it's a really good idea for you to talk to your provider right now, let them know that this is going on, therefore you can make that change ahead of time so there's no lapse in coverage. Again, I'm not a sales guy, I'm the guy that runs the account management teams, so I'm the one that's on the line here, and that's how we do that day in, day out. So that's a little bit about the disruption piece. And again, David mentioned this, but whenever we looked at the admin fee costs, it's just what you pay in administration costs, because not only do you not want disruption, you want to keep the same benefits, but the real why is, are you going to save money with us, right? So $100,000 per year is what you're going to save on just the administrative fees, and we're keeping our fees stacked the same for 3 years. So that will remain the same. Our implementations go very, very well. We're very, very proud of the way that we implement our plans. We always kind of joke saying once you've seen one UMR plan, you've seen one UMR plan. because we build them just to exactly what your needs are. We are so confident that we're going to do well with that. We're putting $52,000 of I guess, at-risk fees. So if it does not go in, and they'll ask Juanita, and she will say, no, it did not go well, and we would pay you the money. Okay. Also, there is a traditional a transition credit to support the transition, $155,000 there. The rebates you've already discussed. So that's overall $2.7 million is what we're projecting on rebates. And again, whatever that drug spend is, that will be how that may fluctuate. But based off of what we've seen already in the report, that's how much we expect the pharmacy rebates to be. One other thing that David mentioned that I wanted to talk about, so we talked about pharmacy costs being so high. I'm sure you guys have talked about the specialty medications. Have you heard about gene therapy medications? Gene therapy is a new class that's been coming through, and it can be up to $4 million for a therapy. It's one time, and it cures the disease. It's life-changing, but plan-breaking, if you look at that. So we have a gene therapy program, and what we do is we take it, if you get it, you become in a pool of our entire book of business, and therefore that cost gets shifted, not just for you, but over our entire book of business. So that's also something that we're looking at. It's $3.85 PEPM, and that's an optional program if you want to choose it, but it is a game changer if you ever do have that type of a service. Then the last thing I'll talk about, David mentioned a little bit about, disease management programs. How do you take care of an aging population, a population that has these larger claims that are coming through? So we have a care management programs. This is another thing that we will build and shift with you as needed. So we take the claims that you've got right now, we would recommend, hey, these are some of the things that we would do, and that's all part of what we have in the proposal for you now. Sam Atkinson is actually on the phone. He is your care management consultant. He is assigned to your group. He lives in Lafayette, Louisiana, and what Sam does is he watches the claims and sees, are we really doing our job? And there's Sam right there on the screen. Hey, Sam. So he will be watching to say, are we doing the right things? Are we collecting the right people? Are the programs that we put in place, are they working? If they're not, we'll say, let's scratch that for next year, or even in the middle of the year, and then let's put in something else. The whole idea is that this is going to be tailor-made to wrap around your group, your members, what your needs are. And we have seen significant changes. It's not just about what we call a discount rate for your hospitals. It's whenever you come through, whenever a claim comes through, and when we're understanding what your data is, where you've got gaps in care, making sure that we're able to really address those things early on, not just because somebody's going to the hospital, but what do we do before that to get them on a healthier, more well place. So that's what I got to say. Any questions?
Yes.
Yes.
Would either you, Mr. Chapman, or Mr. Sharpenshay address item 5, specific claim excess loss coverage? Would you go through each of those points? $200,000 the first and the 12-18 contract.
Oh, okay.
And Mr. Sharpenshay addressed the laser scenario.
We're not sure what number 5 is. We don't
Under
have a
the
copy of the exact copy.
recommendations, under recommendations 1, 2, 3, 4, second page, number 5, specific claim excess loss coverage.
Okay. Okay, specific claim excess loss coverage.
Yes.
That is what's called stop-loss insurance. The way a self-funded plan works is very few plans, other than really, really big ones, can afford to take all the risk of the health care of their employees. So what they do, and what you do, is you insure claims that go over a certain deductible. For instance, any claim over $100,000, Lincoln Parish can buy insurance for that, and the insurance company will pick up anything that goes over the $100,000, which is called a specific deductible. Now that deductible can be different amounts. It can, but $100,000 for an example. But that's what that is. And every year it renews, just like the rest of the health plan. The thing we have right now is we have 3 people who don't qualify for that reinsurance because they're so far down the road that their claims are just about a known. And again, the carriers don't insure the known, they insure the unknown. Does that answer your question?
It does.
Okay.
Thank you.
I have a question as far as the implementation goes. How many, 578 retirees, is that what we're looking at?
Oh,
roughly?
We probably have closer to 800
800?
between the 2 plans. But
Okay.
Did you say 800?
Yeah.
As far as, I know you said a kickoff call.
Right.
To help with changes. Is there anything else we can do as a district that you guys have seen to help our retirees with the re-enrollment process to where it's going to be a streamlined, simple process for them to where when emails come, that they may not be hip to emails, they may not want to do something on a computer, they may want to sit down with someone and talk face to face. Can you kind of talk through some thoughts or ideas of what we could do as a district with you guys to help us through that?
Absolutely. So there's going to be.
I can help.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Oh, that's okay. I was going to say we're going to probably both take that hand in hand. I'm on the active side. Joanne's side is the retiree side. So Joanne, if you want to go through your piece.
Go ahead, Joanne.
Sure. So we have a very robust team. If you, when you make the decision to move over, we assign an entire team to the transition. And what we do is we provide face-to-face retiree meetings. We provide virtual meetings for retirees that can't travel. Some might be in a nursing home, some might not be able to travel. So we provide virtual meetings, and then we also provide what we call brain shark videos, where they can watch the video in the privacy of their home and watch it as many times as they want to. We would actually set up meetings in the morning and the afternoon to do education. And from a re-enrollment perspective, basically the re-enrollment can be done with an electronic file by taking current folks that are enrolled in the Medicare Advantage plan today and simply transferring them over on an electronic file. So the active enrollment would only have to occur with those folks that are making a new election. Unless the district just decided that you wanted someone to go through an active election for the sake of updating your own personal files, but we can accept an electronic file, which is basically an Excel spreadsheet with all the necessary data fields, and just bump them up against the CMS file to make sure they have Part A and Part B. And if they're on Medicare Advantage today, they would. And so we do the heavy lifting there. We even, if the district doesn't want to use your locations and you want us to rent facilities, we'll do that are senior friendly. But we'll offer lots of communication and education just to make sure that retirees understand the plan, understand that the benefits are going to stay the same with the exception of dental. We'll let them know how the plan works, explain the passive nature of the PPO. And then we would work specifically with the district to handle the enrollment and pulling that membership data over from your system to ours. We have an implementation manager that gets assigned. We have a three-pronged team from a service perspective that helps with the enrollment and the education. We have a dedicated billing analyst that we assign, and also an enrollment specialist that handles all of the file feeds that go over to CMS. That's from my perspective, and then Travis can speak to the UMR, the commercial perspective.
Yeah, and so from our side, so Cheryl is going to be the account manager for the group. She's got a field account manager and a full team of those guys. So as many meetings you have, we will come and join. And the Brain Shark is actually a really interesting thing. So we kind of create one for your group, and we can talk through each of the benefits, and it comes through a QR code, or if we can send an email that they just click a link, and it gives that, again, really the benefit of that is they can do it at their leisure, at their home, and they can keep that on file.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay. So the first thing we got to do is make a motion that we approve the renewal of the self-insured health and dental plan administration. Yes? No?
So, actually, there's two things we want to get on record, and number one is that if you are, agree with us changing to the United Healthcare UMR as our TPA for health and dental plan administration, we would request that the board approve the termination of health and dental administration services with Blue Cross Blue Shield of Louisiana for claims incurred through December 31st, 2024. It then authorized the superintendent to contract with Blue Cross Blue Shield to continue the payment of the runoff claims thereafter. There will have to be an agreement in order for that to happen. And then, secondly, to approve United Healthcare Partners, UMR, Optum, and a few others, to provide health, dental, and pharmacy administration services effective January 1, 2025, and then also authorize the superintendent to sign those agreements necessary to implement those programs.
Okay. You got that one?
Now, this is for current employees.
Correct.
This is for current
Correct.
employees, not retirees.
And retirees who are still on the self-funded plan, yes.
And retirees who run the
So we
cell.
have some that aren't on the Medicare Advantage.
Yeah. And you should have in your packet, I think, a summary of benefits that Cheryl prepared, just to mirror out the benefits that are currently being offered under the Blue Cross Blue Shield plan. Of course, they don't have those documents ready. They can't really do anything until you act today. But that's just at least to put something in our hands to show that those primary or significant benefits offered under those three plans. One is for our active employees and retirees who do not have Medicare. The other plan is for retirees who do have Medicare that are on the self-funded plan. And the fourth one, of course, is for the dental plan. I'm sorry, the third one is for the dental plan.
Okay, so on the first motion to terminate Blue Cross Blue Shield effective 12/31, is that simple enough to, it's all one?
Yeah.
So part 1 and 2 is under one motion?
You can't terminate and then not renew with another, so you got to do it all
So
together.
we only need to do one motion?
Right.
Yes.
Okay, sorry, just want to be clear.
That's fine. Okay.
Y'all come sit in this chair for a minute. So do I have a motion for the verbiage that Ms. Duke to terminate and hire? Do I have a motion? We got 1 and 2 down there.
This Abram.
Ms. Abram, Ms. Hancock.
There's one Hancock.
Hancock was 1.
Whichever
Ms.
one
Debbie
you
was
like.
2.
It don't matter.
Any questions? Any comments from the audience out there?
I would like to just thank Brown and Brown. I know they worked hard on this. There was many emails, late night emails, all day, and I must say the UMR UHC team also all night emailing Joanne too, late at night, trying to answer every question, take advantage of every deal, get pennies on the dollar per member per month discounts and everything for that. And I do appreciate all of your time and attention for that. I think this plan is on paper, it looks good. We will see whenever we get through after January 1 what happens then. I know step 2 will now begin with all of the data and the meetings to do the conversions. But do you want to introduce your team? Because I know we're going to be working hand in hand with Cheryl Cook, and you're out of Jackson, right?
That's right.
So you'll be our point of contact.
We probably need to vote before we do that. Can we do that?
I'm sorry. I thought you just
all right.
said it. Okay.
We're already confused.
I know. Well, there is
I
a
thought-
motion on the floor and seconded. Any other questions about that motion before we vote? All in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed say no. Ms. Duke, you can introduce people all you want.
All right. Scott, would you take?
Absolutely. All right, so Cheryl Cook is going to be your strategic account executive. So she's going to have the overall relationship for the group. So she's going to be your contact day in, day out. We'll be working with the implementation team to make sure that every side of this is done correctly. She is supported by a field account manager who will be here for your enrollment meetings, that will be here for member education, your team's education. Her name is Sally Campbell, also in Jackson, Mississippi. Then you will have an implementation manager. You'll have a full team, but then Sam Atkinson is absolutely critical to the success, because he's going to one that's really kind of watching to see where can we support your membership, where can we help with wellness programs, what can we do. So Sam, if you want to say hello to everybody. Sorry.
Yeah, can y'all hear me?
We can.
Yes.
Okay, well, good. It's good to e-meet all y'all. I know I've met a few people in the room already. But like Scott said, my name's Sam Atkinson. I'll be your care consultant throughout your time with UMR, and my main role is going to be to help manage those clinical programs that Scott was talking about. So I'm going to be your direct contact for the prior authorization process and case management services, disease management services. I work very closely with Cheryl and Sally. So it really turns into one big smooth partnership. So I'm looking forward to it, and I'm glad y'all sounds like y'all are coming on board. So welcome.
I'll also tell you a little fun fact is that I actually hired Sam to be a wellness coach for our 2 school boards when he first started, and then we pulled him into UMR full-time as an employee. So we love Sam, and we're glad to have him on the team. All right, and there are many, many more people that will be on board and be supporting you guys, but those are going to be your main face-to-faces. So, all right, thank you.
And for the board, I would just like to introduce our new person that we have in our office. You know, Christine Hanna, she couldn't be here. Her mother had fell and she's going through some things. But she's going to be retiring in January. And so we're going to definitely miss her. But we've recently hired in August Miss Laramie Allen. Laramie, please stand and say hi.
Hello, nice to meet all of you.
She is new to Simsboro. Don't hold it against her. She's been a joy to work with. She's very sharp. She has her licensure in health and life broker. Very sharp. We're glad that she's here. She has helped me and assisted with gathering and putting together, and she's going to be doing a lot more too. And I'm so glad that she likes the computer and likes to work with Excel. But she's going to be working with Cheryl and also Sam. I'm sure that y'all will get to know each other very well, and we look forward to the new relationship in January. Well, tomorrow. So.
Yeah, we started right now. Thanks so much, guys. We appreciate it.
All right.
Okay, item number 3. Is that for you too?
Okay. So speaking of saving money, this is not one of those items. So with our health plan, it's, we haven't had an adjustment in any of the rates for our members for a very long time. I went and looked in history, and I found that the last time we did a rate increase on our employees or retirees was back in January of 2009. And that's almost really unheard of, but the school board has been absorbing the increases in plan costs since that time 100%. Okay? You have in your packet attached a summary of a summary financial report. It kind of looks like this. It just kind of dates back to pre-COVID in 2019. That was the year I came. Actually, it was in 2020. But in August of 2019 is whenever I came to the school board. And it shows here where we had, our contributions were $13.7 million, plan expenses $13.4, had a positive net change in assets. Then in 2020, if you notice there, all of our admin services were for our self-funded plan. We note that as ASO. We did not have any costs associated with the Medicare Advantage plan because that didn't start till January 1 of 2020. Okay, and then we go to 2020 and we see where we have now admin costs or the premiums that we've just discussed for Medicare Advantage that were put in place. That has actually saved money for us, but then too in 2020, as you know, COVID hit. And so nobody went to the doctor during that year. So we built up in our reserves $2.6 million in addition to what we had already had then. At this point, our reserves were probably over $4 million. And so following some rules that because whenever we charge the cost per employee into our records, our financial records, we do have employees who are employed whose salaries are paid by federal programs. This is a tail wagging the dog. Where federal programs, we charge them the benefit costs for their health insurance benefits for those employees. And in doing so, we have to abide by federal rules and regulations, which require that we not hold more than 2 months of operating expenses in our health fund whenever we're doing that. So, whenever we built up these reserves, and in 2021, we had, some of you may remember this, we had a premium holiday in December. And so we didn't charge employee or the school board for any premiums that month because we had sufficient reserves to absorb 1 month of contributions. Well, we did that again in 2022, but we didn't do it for the employees. We did it for the employer portion in June because those balances were still up at that level. And then in 2023, that's whenever these claims over the last 12 to 15 months started increasing sharply, and they continue to increase sharply, and that's why we decided we need to pull in a new partner to help us to get control of some of these claims and to look out for what's coming in the future. And we know there's some more high dollar claims that we're going to be addressing. So right now in 2023 for the calendar year plan, we had a decrease in net assets of 1.2 million. And then in 2024, to date, 1.9. So that's where we are with our plan, and we can no longer start absorbing the cost of increases to our plan. So we now have to make a recommendation to increase those premiums, and it's going to impact our employees and our retirees. So you have also in your packet a chart, and this is probably going to mirror what David told you in his chart, a graph that shows the monthly claims cost and how it's been rising over the last, and this is over a 3-year period. But you can see that in May, starting in about April and May of 2023, that's whenever the climb started with our claims. And the total claims is the top line. It's all of them combined that actually show where we are. So I just added August to the report, and that is getting close to almost 1.2 million just in claims, not admin cost, not any other costs associated with the plan, just pure claims. Okay, for medical, not even dental. Okay, so that just gives you a sense of where we are there. The next page that you have it shows your health claim costs. It's the chart with the orange markings on it and the arrows. At the top, it shows you the claims that are actually have been incurred over the last 3 full plan years and calendar year to date in 2024. The first arrow that you see at the top is for all members. The information in the box represents average monthly claims, and then at the top it's the cost of annual claims. What we're projecting based on the trend that we're on right now is about a 12% increase in our medical claims cost over the 2023 plan year. So we're looking at claims to hit about little over 14 million. Okay, compared to the 2023 plan year where we were at 12.4 million. So you see the increase there of nearly 1.5 million to our plan that's occurring this year. Average claim costs for in those plan years, if you look, the second column with the arrow, average claim cost in 2021 per member, per covered member, spouse, child, employee, was an average cost of $5,395. As we go to 2023, it's $6,763, and so far in 2024 through August, 7 months, it's $5,076. So if we stay on this pace, we're looking at close to $7,600 for this 2024 plan year. And this is just an estimate. Anything can happen between August and December. I hope, things slow down, but I don't think that's the direction it's going to go. And then at the bottom, the retirees are included in the all members at the top, but at the bottom you do see the retirees and what their contributed portion. Now this only represents those retirees who are on the self-funded plan and not on the Medicare Advantage plan, okay? So the average cost for those retirees in 2021 was $8,110. $1,287 in claims per member. And when you compare that to the all members, you can see that the retiree cost is significantly higher. Okay, in 2023, it's over $10,000, and in 2024, we're looking at the retiree portion of claims costs being over $12,000 per member per month. And this, again, this is for the 286 members who are currently covered. Okay, so that's just information there for you. Then the second plan is our dental plan. And nothing really significant to report here. We are going to be recommending an adjustment in our premiums for dental to increase single coverage by $1 for single participants, and then for family participants $2. And that $2 will be cost shared between the school board and the member. For active employees and retirees have always paid 100% of the dental benefits. Because it is optional and voluntary, we have the dental benefits offered for retirees because they want it, so they pay 100% for that cost. And you can see here, same information. We're expecting the claims for dental for all members to be approximately $773,000 for the year, compared to $703,000 in 2023. That's about a 9 or 10% increase that we're seeing so far for this year. And of course, not as bad, but the retiree costs are still a little bit higher, not much, than all members combined. Okay, so then now we get to what we're recommending. Because of these increased costs, we're looking at increasing, and we've worked with Brown & Brown, and Jason Huffman is here, and he's been a great help in doing the calculations and working with their actuaries and getting the numbers that we need to be able to make the recommendation. The proposed rates, I have what our current rates are under the orange column headers for 2024. The first sheet, of course, is for our active employees. Active members, for just an employee only, is paying currently $87 and has been paying $87 since 2009. What we're recommending is that increase, that single coverage increase, to $110 per month. But then also, you can see that that's going to be a $23.65 increase to the employee. But on the flip side of that, our cost share, the school board's cost share, is going to be an additional $146 per month for that enrollee. And that's a 27% increase for the Lincoln Parish School Board as well. So we definitely have the lion's share of the increase that we're going to bear the burden for. Even though this is a 20+% increase, whenever you compare it, if you ever get outside and compare it to other school systems and other employers, it's a very low cost for health, still a very low cost for the health plan that we are offering to our employees today. What we're also doing is we're changing from a 3-tier structure, premium structure, to a 4-tier premium structure. And right now we have the employee-only coverage, and then we have an employee plus one, and that plus one can be a child or a spouse. And what we're doing is we're splitting that child and spouse and making those two categories. We're going to have a second category for employee and children. So if it's the employee and 1, 2, 3, 5, 10 children, then you pay this one rate. And children, and David, correct me if I'm wrong, they're probably the lowest cost members on our plan on average. So that's why we're able to do that, and that helps out single family parents who are trying to work 2 jobs to provide for their family, and it's just a little bit cheaper rate. Then we have coverage for an enrollee and spouse. That'll be the 3rd tier, and that's going to be a little bit higher because you've got 2 adults on the plan. And then family coverage is strictly going to be coverage for the employee, a spouse, and a child or children. Okay, so truly the whole, husband and wife and children covered under the family coverage. So the increase is there, and when you see the enrollee and children, based on the current rate that they're paying now, because enrollee and children are paying the family rate today, they're not going to be paying the family rate in January, and they will see a reduction in their cost of about $40.98 for this making this change. But the enrollee and spouse is going to see a 42% increase, which is going to be an $80 increase in the monthly premium for that coverage. Okay, so that's for an active employee. The second page is a category of premiums that we have for retirees. Retirees without Medicare, with Medicare, one person with Medicare, two people with Medicare, and this is without a premium waiver. For the most part, we have very few retirees who do not qualify for a premium waiver. I would venture to say it's under 20 that we have. But this cost, it looks the same as for the active. You can see we're changing it still again from the 3-tier to the 4-tier. Not very many are signed up on this, and they're going to have an increase. Primarily, the enrollee and the spouse will have the largest increase for these rates, but not larger than the school board. The next page is the retiree premiums who are retired with a waiver. These rates is where the vast majority of those 200 and well, 280 retirees who are actually on the self-funded plan, they will see the largest, not the largest, they will have the same type of increase in their rates as well. Again, the Lincoln Parish School Board will bear the largest share of that as well. But again, very similar for that. The amounts are a little bit lower because of the waiver, premium waiver for the primary retiree who is covered on the plan. And we also included in your package just a comparison to see how these rates compare with our peers. Of course, with the Office of Group Benefits, that they offer health coverage to the state universities, state government, state universities, state government, nearly half of the school boards in the state who are with them, and that's the OGB plans, which are represented in the far right 2 columns. The green bar at the top that shows where our proposed rates are going for 2025. We have a couple of other school boards policies on here. I was able to get that. I found out that these districts are actually having increases. They're actually levying increased rates about 5% this year. I know Bossier had a 5% rate this year. They had a 9.5% last year. Some other school boards to the west of us are actually looking at a 7.5% increase, but their premiums are much higher than ours. So that's going to be a more significant cost excuse me, to those participating members in their school system. So you can look across and see how single coverage, how an employee share coverage would actually compare to those other plans that are out there. And you can see that we are, Ms. Ferguson, I know you've worked in another school system, and you know what you pay when you were in another school system with OGB. The same thing with retiree benefits. Retirees without our waiver premium, everyone has retiree benefits, health insurance benefits structured a little bit differently. The Office Group Benefits has tiered structures where you have to be participating with their plan for a minimum of 20 years to receive a 75% discount on the total premium at retirement. And if you have 10 years or less, then the retiree's paying 80% of the total premium, which is a huge contribution. So we really do offer a very valued benefit to employees of the Lincoln Parish School Board who stay with us long enough to retire and keep our insurance into their retirement. So it is a really good deal. All right, so in the last page just shows those premiums as it's compared for what we call our retiree with waiver premiums, those who have been with our plan and worked with us and retired with us, and has been in the plan at least 5 years. They actually, those premiums are still lower than the other participants who have 20-plus years in those other health plans with other employers with Office of Group benefits. Okay. So that is what we're recommending for, this is an average increase in premium of approximately 24% on average, and this is for both the participating members, the employee and retiree, and for the school system. So that's going to be, and that had been, sorry, I just lost my sheet. Well, I have it right here. Okay, so it's an average of a 24% increase on average. We are making note that we're doing away with dual employee rates. That is a benefit that we've been giving to for a small discount for spouses who are also employees of the school system. That is going away. They're going to have to either separate and go into 2 separate plans, which is probably going to be the most cost advantageous thing for them to do, because it'll be cheaper than being on one plan together still. They can still achieve that goal. Our current needs for the 2025 plan year is approximately $20 million to fund projected cost plus the specific claims that we've talked about. That's not factoring in any savings from the pharmacy at this point. In order to hedge the pharmacy savings, because that hasn't been realized yet, and we have drawn down a lot of the resources in our health plan, we would like to reserve the option to transfer funds from 2 different fund balances that we have for the school system in the 2020 sales tax fund and the 2000 ad valorem fund. The 2000 ad valorem fund is the fund that we collect monies for retiree benefits, and because retiree benefits represent approximately 34% of the claims that have been estimated, of the $2 million that we're requesting to transfer, we would like to charge that fund approximately 35% of that amount if needed in January, and then 50% in January, 50% mid-year, once we get into the program and we see what savings we are actually achieving. We may not need to transfer all of it, but we would still like to have the option to do that. And then for active employees, we'd like to reserve out of the fund balance out of the 2020 sales tax approximately $1.7 million. The balance of that, again, 50% in January, and then waiting to see what kind of performance we have with our savings programs to see if that would be required or how much would be required mid-year at that point. That'll just kind of hedge that, as we don't like to always count on something if it doesn't come to fruition. All of this is good, and I know it's been proven with other employers and other plans and groups that the savings can be achieved, but I feel like it's just a conservative approach to have, just to know that we can reserve those funds to do that. Okay, and then moving on to the dental premiums, I had alluded to this too. We would increase that to be able to break even with the cost of the program by increasing single coverage by $1 and then family coverage by $2. The cost share on that would be the school system picking up about 25 cents for active employees of that cost and passing on 75 cents to the active employee for that coverage. And that would bring in approximately $805,000 based on the current membership that we have participating in the dental plan. And then next is just, we had alluded to this and talked about the Medicare Advantage plan, is just setting those rates for for those retired members who are going to the United Healthcare Advantage Plan. The enrollee, their cost share is 75% of the total premium, which is $82.75 for those who do not have a waiver. The Lincoln Parish School Board share is $248.25 per member in that category. And then for the retirees and their spouses who are under the waiver, the retirees who are under the waiver, of course, they're not going to be paying a charge for that coverage, but the Lincoln Parish School Board is going to pay the full cost of that $333. And then the spouse of those retirees with the waiver would pay the $82.75 as well. So that's the recommended changes for premiums for the 2025 plan year for your consideration.
I noticed in your paperwork there that you said that we should anticipate another increase in 2026.
Well, probably. Because it, depending
surely
on.
It's, I mean, the 24% is because of the increase over 15 years.
Right. But we still have this $2.2 million gap right now, and that's why hedging that money, we didn't factor into the calculation of the premium schedule, the savings that we've yet to see from the UMR plan. So this will just backfill it until we achieve those savings. But if we don't to any degree, then that will have to be made up in some way through either more school board contributions or revising the premiums again. And I wish that we can say that we can just pick up a little bit and add a little bit extra cost, to it and pay it out of the school board's reserves to do that. But the direction, we're just in a different environment with healthcare now and the changes that we're seeing coming from at the federal level. And I know the state gets involved in this too, and they have changes that come in and make mandates on us as well and what we should be doing with our plans. So again, a lot of government regulation. A lot of it is great for the members who are participating because the focus is to reduce their costs and to give them access to good quality health care. Unfortunately, that means that we have to pick up find a way to pick up the cost for that.
Well, obviously, there's a lot of us in here that were not on the board in 2009 to just a couple years ago, and does history show that we were pretty flush with cash reserve-wise for a long time? And obviously, this is a very sensitive subject that people don't want to talk about or touch, and I understand that completely. And so, is it safe to say that we use reserves throughout the last 15 years since the last increase to cover all of the increases? Correct.
Well, it's been done somewhat differently, but I think yes, transfers were made to the health plan to pick up the difference. The way that premiums were being charged out isn't the way that it's being charged out today. We changed that back in 2020 to where we would match employer contributions to the employee and charge it to the fund source that they are employed under. I mean, it's the most equitable thing to do, and you can keep track of the cost that way when you tie that employer cost to an individual. And we budget for it as an expense instead of just doing direct transfers. But those rates probably were not adjusted as the increase in cost increased. So in addition to allocating that out, additional transfers were made. We have not done that. We've always done a premium. We've changed our premium and our rates, but we didn't touch the employee portion since then. But now we're to the point to where we're having to make those transfers out of the fund balance to do that, and that's why we're coming now to adjust these rates. In addition to the fact that the trend rates for increased costs. And you see, we've reported every month. It's just growing.
Sure.
Yeah.
So
you got to do something.
So would you say that it's a safe and better practice going forward from here to implement
absolutely
smaller incremental increases to our employees and retirees as we go versus a 24% lift.
I agree, yeah.
Absolutely.
Because, I mean, if you take 24% on average by 15 years or whatever, that's a 1.6% increase
Right.
yearly, which is a lot easier to swallow than
Correct.
24%. Because I mean, I'm no mathematician or CFO or accountant, but I'm pretty sure our teachers' pay hasn't gone up 24% in 15 years. So,
Well, it's not very comparable because, just because of the premiums are low now. So 24% for Lincoln Parish employee or retiree is not comparable to 24% for a Union Parish employee or retiree. Their cost is much higher, and it's a greater cost to them.
sure.
So,
I mean, I'm sure that we're doing the best we can. I just hope going forward that we do it in
Yes.
small increments versus.
I would agree to that.
Thank you. This is mind-boggling.
Okay, so, it's been proposed that we revise our health rates as presented. Do I have a motion that we consider that item?
So move.
So moved by Hunter. Second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Joe Mitchell. Questions? Or thoughts from the board? Thoughts from the audience?
I have one. So you mentioned that if you have a husband and wife or a spouse that teach the school system, that it might be best for them to separate. Okay, what about if they have children? Could you, all right, one child is on my policy, one child is on my wife's policy, and will the school board figure out which policy is best, or we need to look at that before we sign
All right,
off?
so that's gonna be an individual decision on what you need to do, but I can just tell by looking at the rates and looking at them as much as I have, that it's probably better for single coverage to be, one spouse to be on a single coverage, and the other spouse to be a spouse with children. It's one or all. I mean, I wouldn't do one spouse having one child and another spouse having another child.
Right.
Because you're paying too much cost there. One spouse with all the children.
So, and when we enroll, will that be showed, you know?
Yes,
that's something-
absolutely.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because it's no difference between 1 and 20 children, right? It's the same rate.
I can work with you on that, Mr. Brown.
Well, it's a fair question.
I've heard this presentation many times.
Any thoughts from the
We've
board?
already identified all of those dual
Employees?
Yeah.
Any other questions from the board? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed say no. Motion carries. That is it for the items of the agenda as we presented. So I will accept a motion that we adjourn.
So moved.
So moved by Hunter, second by Ms. Debbie.